One of the very best weeks of the entire sporting calendar is finally upon us. It features arguably the greatest single thing in all of sports. The greatest single event in all of sports. Yes, I said it. I've always said it.
Yeah, I said it.
I love it. NCAA tournament. I know exactly what I said, and I say it every single year at this time. I'm not sure there's any one thing in all of sport, and there are amazing things, but I'm not sure there's any one thing that compares to the NCAA tournament for any number of reasons, but it's awesome, and it's awesome every damn year. It never disappoints. Listen, almost nothing ever lives up to the hype. We all know that, except the NCAA tournament. And the NCAA tournament always smashes the hype virtually every single year. And I don't think this year is going to be any different, especially this year, especially when you consider how wide ass open the field is. We've been talking about that for weeks. It's going to be madness, as it always is. It's going to be chaos, like it always is. And it's going to be incredible, like it always is. In 4 days, we are all going to be swimming in bracket dopamine. Unfortunately, though, if I'm starting at the very top of this wide open tournament, it means I'm starting with Alabama. And nothing says top overall seed like fresh capital murder indictments. Yeah, I said that too. You could say that they're in the right spot at the right time, but that would be incredibly tone deaf. Nearly as tone deaf as Nate Oates when Nate Oates said the exact opposite about Brandon Miller and the deadly weapon that he delivered to the scene of a deadly crime. There is no doubt that the tragedy in Tuscaloosa is the dark cloud that's going to hang over the entire tournament. And them continuing to play this guy and all of them acting like nothing even happened sure as hell not helping anybody or anything. Or him mindlessly continuing to go with that absurd pat-down act during player intros, even after a single mother had been shot and killed with a gun that he delivered to the scene. And finally, he stopped doing that. Good thing, too, because that was one of the most insulting, ignorant things I've seen in quite some time. So, the fact that Alabama is the number one overall seed, given everything that's gone on off the floor, is pretty horrible. It just is. Unfortunately, you can't overlook what they've done on the floor. And there is no questioning, if you look at it from a pure basketball standpoint, which is what the committee did, they did the right thing in making them the top overall seed. As reprehensible as they've been off the floor, there's really no arguing that going into the dance, they are the ones to beat. They're the number one overall seed, and they are the ones to beat. Now, if you think I'm overstating how brutal this whole thing is, well, number one, you're wrong. I'm not. And then number two, obviously you did not see the SEC tourney in Nashville, where the brainy Vanderbilt fans do what they do. They got clever with it. Awfully good academic institution, and they proved it by breaking out, quote, Brandon Killer chants. And Brandon Miller. Brandon Killer. But not to be outdone, some Bama fans showed up in personalized tees that read, and I quote, killing our way through the SEC in 23. That's a real thing. Some idiots actually did that. Killing our way through the SEC in 23. Stay classy, Bama fan. Then again, they're not wrong. They are killing it in 23. Both on and off the floor. Literally. And for some reason, some idiots find humor in that. It's like this entire situation is a race to the very bottom. It's like the tone-deaf Olympics. The point of March Madness is not supposed to be to identify the biggest jackasses. It's supposed to be about hoops. Unfortunately, when it comes to Alabama right now, it's hard to keep it about hoops. Thankfully, there are other worthy contenders and stories to follow on the one line. You know, like the Fighting Kelvin Sampsons of Houston, the number 2 overall seed, or the Big Ten champs, Purdue, or the defending champs, Kansas, all of whom, while getting the number 1 seed, all have some legitimate concerns. However, at least none of them have capital murder charges. Of course, Jayhawk fan is pissed, because almost everybody always is when the brackets drop. Jayhawk fan is pissed that Houston secured the number 2 overall seed. By the way, Vegas has Houston as the team to beat overall. But Jayhawk fan is pissed because they don't get to play in Kansas City. Hey, Jayhawk fan, why don't we just let you play every NCAA tournament game at Allen Fieldhouse, at the Fog? Would that make you happy? Your coach just had a heart procedure, and you got hammered by Texas in the conference tourney. You're where you're supposed to be, and you're focused on the wrong thing. Now listen, I'm no cardiologist. I just play one on the radio, but your bigger concern is not where they put you, but rather your coach's health, first and foremost, and then whether or not he can hold up under the pressure of the meat grinder that is the NCAA tournament, especially as the defending champs. Then again, at least you have a spot in the field, unlike the team that you beat in the championship game last year. I mean, not that it was any surprise, but North Carolina, 1 year after playing in the championship game, a game they very well could have won, missed the tournament altogether. And it was a surprise to absolutely nobody. And Tar Heel fan, I don't want to pile on. Hate to do this to you, but your team just pulled off one of the most disastrous seasons in the history of college basketball. Like all kinds of the wrong history. Historic, but for the wrong reason.
I mean, it's not failure at all.
Oh, it is. It is, Bron. Not only did they make it to the championship game a year ago, but they returned 4 starters from that team. Not only did they make it to the championship game a year ago, they were the number 1 ranked team in the preseason. And despite all that, they somehow missed the NCAA tournament. And if it feels like that's never happened before, it's because that has never happened before. Of course, they said no to the NIT.
No.
I'd say that they're better than the NIT, and that's why they said no. But right now, they're not. They're not better than the NIT. You know why? You are what your invite says you are, and you received an invite to the NIT, not the NCAA tournament. Like I always say, and I didn't make this up, but I always say it. There is a better party, and we're not at it. Yeah, well, neither is North Carolina. And they're not at it because they weren't invited to it, and they don't deserve to be. The reason they said no to the NIT, to me, is it would have only reminded everybody for several more days and the rest of the world of what a disastrous campaign they had. And even winning that thing was not going to make that go away. Better just to say no and go to work. North Carolina got the better of Duke and Coach K in the Final Four last year in Coach K's big send-off. But, certainly Duke is Duke. And they proved it again over the last month.
Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
Certainly Duke is Duke. And they just proved that Duke is Duke, even without Coach K.
Certainly Duke is Duke.
And they just proved it, even without Coach K. It's certainly not to that extent. Maybe not that, but they are still Duke. Certainly Duke is still Duke, and they are getting right at just the right time. Duke has not lost since February 11th. Duke just ran right through the ACC tourney like it was 1986 or 88 or 92 or 99 or 2000 or 01 or 02, 03, 05, 06 or 09 or 2010 or 11 or 17 or 19. Point is, certainly Duke is Duke.
Certainly Duke is Duke.
Or in the very
They're on
least,
TV more than Leave
Duke
It
is
to
not
Beaver
dead.
reruns.
Certainly Duke is Duke,
They're on
and
TV
Duke is not
certainly
dead.
Duke is Duke reruns. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns.
Looking good. Looking good. I like it. So at the start of the tournament, everybody is always looking for a Cinderella, a dark horse, a long shot. You know, that kind of underdog, awesome run that makes March Madness March Madness. You know, I've been thinking about the Cinderellas, and I've got a few for you. Actually, I've got one for you. How about them Gauchos? Yeah, because I was not going to get there. Do you have any idea how much discipline and restraint that I showed not to lead with that? How about the Gauchos? UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. 27 wins, back in the tourney. And what was that sound? Bobby, hit me with that again. That is the sound of some ecstatic Gauchos celebrating their big West Championship, their second tourney bid in 3 years. My guy, Joe Pasternak, has got it rolling. 27 wins. The Gauchos 127. 7 in a row, rolling into the tournament. They were the regular season Big West co-champs, and they took down the Big West tourney over the weekend. Ask me, and I am somewhat biased, but I've watched this tournament for decades. I'm here to tell you, they're the most dangerous 14 seed in the history of the world. I said that too. The most dangerous 14 seed in the history of the world. Now, I know we, and notice I said we. Hey, Rome, you got any eligibility? Hey, Rome, are you on the bench? Hey, Rome, are you playing? What do you mean we? We are in tough with Baylor, a team that won it all not long ago, a 3 seed coming out of the super rugged Big 12. Just know this, Baylor fan. You need to deal with the Gauchos every bit as much as the Gauchos have to deal with you. We're no joke now. Not only had you best not sleep on us, we're no joke. I can't lie. I've already taken a giant chunk of my profits from the NFL season, and I have got crazy action already in the first round and this week. I have hit so many different games, so many different prop bets. Like I am in deep already. And you know what? It feels awesome.